Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Amanda Fest podcast, where our intention is simple. It's to inspire and empower you to take aligned action towards your dream life, whatever that looks like for you. I am so stoked. We have a really cool guest here today. This is my friend PJ. PJ is a New York-based actor and nightlife producer. He is currently starring in the Broadway show, The Book of Mormon, and he is the founder of StageTime, the hit downtown variety show performing weekly at the historic Slippery Room on the Lower East Side. He is dedicated towards creating events that unite like-minded communities through the arts in a rapidly changing world. As we've done with every single episode, before we dive into this very juicy conversation, we're going to take a moment to ground down. We're going to arrive in the here and now. PJ and I are going to arrive. All you guys listening, we're going to just close our eyes. If it's safe to do so, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. I like to put a hand on my heart and one on my belly, just to remind myself I'm here in this physical body. We're just going to tune into our internal world for a moment, breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. Doing a little body scan, noticing where your baseline is at. How are you feeling today? Emotionally, physically? Are you tired, energized, sore, feeling strong? Whatever it is, just clock it, notice it. We're going to take a couple of breaths together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And on our inhale, we're going to set an intention for this listening session. And on that exhale, we're going to let go of something that no longer serves us. It could be physical, it could be emotional. We're just going to let it go on that exhale. So nice deep breath in through your nose and out through the mouth. 2 more just like that. Good job. Nice deep breath in through your nose and out through the mouth. Last one, make it count. Feel free to wiggle, shake, do what you need. Nice deep breath in through the nose. And shake it out. Move your body. Get out any kinks, whatever's stuck in there. Woo! We are here. Welcome to Amanda Fest and welcome PJ.
Hello.
Welcome, PJ.
Hi.
Hey.
Amanda, that was so wonderful. Thank you for that grounding. It's exactly what I needed this morning to get me started.
You're welcome. I'm so happy. That was so beautiful for you. I always love to start off the podcast. I started cutting the beginning short because before I added like a half an hour before the podcast to chat with my guests. And then I realized there were so many fun things that were happening in that beginning 30 minutes that now I get on and I'm like, let's just hit record.
No, for real. You don't want to lose the good. Our first impression is definitely what it's all about. So
I met PJ. I'm trying to remember. It was in December.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
the December show. Do you know Kion?
Yes.
Okay. So this is like the chain of events, like all the way.
Tell me how we got here. I love this.
Okay. So I met Kion in college. He is a world traveler. He's a composer. He's so fucking talented. And he and I will randomly reconnect in different countries every year-ish.
Incredible. I love those friends. Yeah.
And he's so secretive because he's not on social media much. So you don't really know ever where he is or when he is. But I just remember he and I were messaging and we were like, hey, we're both in New York City. And it was this little moment in time. I was like, I'd love to see you. And he goes, I'm going to this underground burlesque show. It starts at midnight.
Yes.
Are you down? I asked 0 questions.
Amen. That's exactly right. You said yes.
I said yes. And I was like, okay, midnight. For those of you guys who listen to this, y'all know I'm a dayer. I pride myself on the morning parties. I can do a nighttime, but I have to fully prep. I got to take a nap. I got to
You and I are the opposite. It's a thrill, Amanda. It's really like, I am a prince of the night. I am a full-time vampire.
Well, you do freaking like 2-day shows and then go straight.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely insane and love what I do, but it does put me in the PM hours pretty significantly.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's been the most fun ever. So a little bit about me. I'm in the Book of Mormon on Broadway. I've been doing that now for the past 3 years. And on top of it, I started my own nightlife company because I realized 8 shows a week wasn't enough.
Yeah, you weren't doing enough.
More than doing enough. And I had this crazy idea for a variety show that would bring together the best of New York City in every single category. That's Broadway drag, stand-up, burlesque, magic, circus. Basically what I realized in my 15 years of living in New York is I had friends that did everything. I had friends in every single category. But everyone was so terribly siloed. You know, I like the magicians hang out with the magicians, the drag queens hang out with the drag queens, the Broadway kids hang out with the Broadway kids, but we all live in the same city, we're all sharing the same moment in time, and we are one artistic community. And there was no show that I knew of that really united all of these factions, and I thought if we could get the best of every single one of those categories, put them in one show, we might have a hit on our hands, and I'm thrilled to say after almost 2 years and something like 50 performances, we're absolutely thriving down on the Lower East Side.
So I'm going to set the stage for you.
Set the stage.
I took my nap. I get my energy drink. We're back to the night of the crime. I took my nap. I'm well rested. I stop by the bodega. I pick up my Celsius. I venture all the way down from the Upper West Side to the Lower East Side, which is not an easy trek if you guys know New York. And I arrive at the slippery room. No idea what to expect. No idea what I'm walking into. I think it's just a burlesque show. PJ, I was so unbelievably blown away by this experience. To everything that you just described, you delivered on to like the umpteenth degree, but the piece that you left out, the most magical piece of the entire puzzle, my darling, it's you.
Oh, thank you.
You bring such an incredible energy to this entire experience. So PJ is the MC of this experience. He is the fucking Alan Cumming of this underground magical world. And as somebody who, I grew up as a theater kid, I went to summer, like I started in the theater industry, you know, this is my world, but I spent 6 years in LA and I just got suppressed and it doesn't have this. And so talk about quintessential New York City homecoming. I walked in and I was like, oh,
you're home, baby. You're home.
Like, wow.
I'm happy to hear you
So
say that.
magical.
I mean, I realize that a lot of people that connect with the show, you know, you really are my ideal audience. It's a pleasure to hear that it's such a wonderful experience that you had because I really made it for you, you know?
I know. I was like, it's me, it's for me.
It is for you. It is a love letter to people who, you know, have this theatrical background and have this theatrical personality and this theatrical lifestyle, but theater can be so inaccessible, and that community can be a really hard thing to even be a part of, even if you are pursuing it full time, right?
Totally.
It's like either you're in the show and it means that it's your full-time life where you're trying to be in the show and it means that you're scrapping around, but there's no real room for a community that can be welcoming and low stakes, right? That it also isn't a luxury product. Like Broadway,
like The Box, or like, you know, like something like that. I've been to shows that are similar-esque or try to do a kind of thing that you're doing, but to your point, it doesn't feel accessible. It feels performative for a different type of audience versus this feels like you're performing by the people for the people.
Correct. It's a community, right? And I really, I'm so happy that that's what's coming across because
100%.
Because it really is. It's about being as inclusive as possible and going like, come on in. Like we would love to share these talents with you, and we would love to have you be a part of this community. And we know that, you know, you're talented in the audience too, and so we really want to remove the barrier between the people who are on stage and the people who are in the audience. That's why all of my shows end with a dance party. And then all of a sudden,
I was gonna say that part of it's so cool because it's like the pre-game for the actual experience.
Oh yeah, I say that I throw the shows so I can get to the after party. Because that's the fun. The fun is that, like, all of a sudden you were watching this magician or you were watching this ballerina, and now she's on the dance floor. And and you can be like, can I buy you a drink? And she's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden you have a chance to see that these aren't mysterious people who are up on a stage and they're different from you. They're just like you, right? And they have these talents and they're sharing the city and they're just people, right? And that's been the most fun is I'm just a people person. I really am like an extrovert's extrovert, and I get my cup filled from learning about and being with interesting people and passionate people. And what I found in exploring these underground diverse communities is that they're just the most lovely, hardworking, generous, gregarious people you'd ever met. and some of them are spooky to look at first impression. You know what I mean? I've got like sideshow clowns that put needles in their face and walk on broken glass, and you think that these people are going to be these intimidating, crazy people, but instead they're like, "Hi, how are you? How was your day?"
You know what you're almost creating? I don't know if you've ever been to Burning Man before.
Yeah, continue, please.
Have you been to Burning Man?
I've never been to Burning Man.
When I first went to Burning Man, it felt so familiar. I was like, there's something about this place. It just feels right. And then I'm walking through the streets of New York, and there's like random art on the street. There's some artist playing over there. There's some guy in the corner talking to himself. And I was like, oh my God, New York City is burning.
Yes. Oh my God. I love that.
I was like, and what you're bringing to the table is you're like, let's normalize the absurd. When I described like the difference between LA and New York, I'm like, New York is the smartest, most creative, people that are the best at whatever it is they do and the most interesting, they all gravitate towards New York City. And I feel like Burning Man is similar, where it's like, it's really freaking smart people that are creating things that you just couldn't even imagine. And nobody's telling you what they do for work. Nobody's going by their real names. It's all about what's your energy and what are you bringing in this present moment.
Oh, that is so beautiful. That is absolutely what I'm aspiring to create. And I'm so happy and grateful that you would draw the connection to Burning Man, especially as something that I haven't experienced. I'm so thrilled that we're smelling the same thing, that we're chasing the same rabbit here. Because I do think that the word that it comes back to is community, right?
Totally.
It's like when you're at Burning Man, you all have signed up for and have agreed to this mental contract, right? That like, oh, we're here and it took effort to get here, which means we're going to treat it with a level of sacredness and intentionality that we won't usually have in our normal lives, right? And that is exactly the type of space that I'm looking to foster with StageTime, because it's StageTime because it's the one thing that you need more of to make it in any of these industries, right? If you want to be a magician, you need more StageTime. If you want to be a drag queen, you need more StageTime. Like, it's all anybody's looking to do to manifest their dreams is these opportunities. And really the banner of StageTime for me is a community function. It's a place where you do come in with the mindset of, oh, I'm going to meet a lot of really cool, diverse people. Oh, I know that if I come here, I'm going to be in an eclectic crowd that reflects my values.
Yes.
And for me, what I struggled with in my 15 years in New York City was feeling all that isolation, right? You mentioned that everybody's here, but where are they, right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody's around, but where do they all hang out?
And There's no third place. There's no third place.
And you just got to it, right? So I realized there are no third spaces, and this is a product of modern day capitalism and the rent increases, and it's crushing the artistic community, because all we need is a empty four walls and a room to gather, and we'll do the rest. We'll make the magic. We'll bring the music, but without that center, it doesn't hold.
Can we tell people what the third place is? Because obviously you and I know a lot about this.
Mm-hmm. Sure. The third space is anything that isn't work or home. Right? Yeah. So we as humans and as people who are pack animals and society dwellers, right? It's like we need these third places that are not associated with income or domesticity, right? Yeah. It's the coffee shop. It's the hangout. It's the lounge or the tea lounge, or even the park or the center of town. If Europe is so good at this, where there are these just like beautiful squares that have markets and, places to lounge. It's where all the kids are hanging out after school and the parents are getting together for a cookout. Like, it's a place where life and work are both left at the door and intersect. And that is something that's completely unprioritized in the States. It feels like people's third space is like their car most days. You know what I mean?
Right. And the goal is to have the third space be community building, right? If you're talking about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as a society, I believe that America specifically is really, really lacking in the importance of belonging and community. And one of our number one problems is there's a loneliness epidemic. People feel isolated. People feel like they don't have people. But we exist, so we need people like you, PJ, who are like, hey, I see the problem. Let me build these four walls. Let me create an infrastructure, and let me invite the people in to then allow it to organically do what it's going to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And yes, that is totally what I'm chasing, and it's totally what the need is. It's not working. what we have right now.
Right.
The system that we've built, the society that we have, like we're looking around and going, okay, this me, ego-based, in my smartphone, with my profile, pushing for my hustling, like it's a team sport. But it's so intimidating because how do I meet the team? How do I get on the team? How do I find this tribe of people that are going to see me as the me that I want to be? And the answer is they're all out there, but it's about building and finding these spaces to meet and gather. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. And have the arts be at the center of it, which is another thing that I feel like in America, the arts are really looked down upon. It's not
crazy.
A prideful thing to be an artist where it should be, you know? This is born out of my 15 years in New York City. This is born out of years of me going, well, I'm an actor. And they go, well, where do you bartend? And I'm like, fuck you. Like, get out of here.
But also the idea of you can be an artist. Like, everybody's an artist in some capacity.
There it is.
Like, in other countries, people meet at the square to dance. They're not paid professional dancers, but you don't need to be a professional dancer to dance. You don't need to be a professional artist to make art. We are creative beings. And this capitalist society has been like, suppress.
Or monetize.
Right.
Like, oh, if you're going to have that skill, you better make money from it. Or else. Why are you even doing it?
There is this craving for genuine, unique experiences centered around the arts. I mean, I went to your show. Every single act that you had was like top tier talent. It was like, it was a very, because this is who your friends are. This is like who you know. You work in the professional theater. You have friends that are doing this at a very high level. And I don't know any other space where you could go see everybody like this and it's curated in the way, like you just can't.
No, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And honestly, I just made the show that I wish I could go see. And that was a big part of my learning about manifesting. I was like, wow, this should exist. Someone should do that. And every time you think someone should do that, that's actually the universe poking you on the shoulder going, hey, that's actually your idea. That means
I love that.
That means actually it's up to you. And I'm like, damn it. Okay, got it.
When did that happen?
I had this inspiration for a long time. I really have been inspired from this downtown community. I've really been in all of these circles. I've had friends who were magicians. I've had friends who were drag queens even before I was on Broadway. And so when I finally did break through and get my Broadway dream job, I started working on this company right away. And I went,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I had this itch. I said, I knew that if I put this together and I had the time and the bandwidth, because I do now with a Broadway job, while it is a lot of work, it is a lot of freedom for the first time. I have that security of knowing that I'm going to be doing 8 shows a week in a hit show that is running. And so I was able to really put all of my daytime energy before my nighttime show into building a show of my own. And
which is crazy because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Broadway, it's such a dream to achieve. You know, wouldn't you think that'd be enough?
No, well, I mean, and that's it. I like to say the reason why I keep dreaming is that they keep coming true.
I love that.
How fast can this thing, how high can we go? Like,
and the goalpost keeps moving. Right. That's a common theme as I've been having these conversations with different people in different industries. It's like you dream up the most incredible thing possible and you realize that's just this much of the dream.
Dream bigger. And that's the thing is in your own manifesting and in your own building this beautiful life for yourself is really going, wow, I can't believe I achieved that. And then you go, well, if I could do that, then what else can I do? How powerful am I? How far does this go? And as long as you are staying in your joy and really chasing it and really being open to wherever that goes without any really expectation of the outcome, I think that is the secret to really just enjoying and being surprised. For me, I didn't expect for this to become my whole life. I mean, I'm putting 60 hours a week into this nightlife company now, and I just knew I had a good idea and that the passion was there. And I've been so just joyfully surprised at how it has continued to grow and grow and grow. And it's already exceeded my expectations, but so has my acting career, right? It's like I moved here to pivot back a bit. I grew up on a farm in rural New England. Of course, that's why I work so hard. I grew up...
But this is just like, you know, the quintessential...
Oh, truly. I literally am the farm kid from Massachusetts and just, left at 18. I just knew
Yeah.
I've always been an artist. I was always...
Did you study musical theater?
I did, yeah. I started acting specifically here in New York, so I picked a college called Marymount Manhattan on the Upper East Side because it was right in the center of New York City, and I really just wanted to hit the ground running. And I moved here at 18, and I just started hustling. And it took me 11 years to make it to Broadway.
One of my favorite quotes is just, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And yeah, this is, I'm bursting on the scene now with this company, but it really is the product of a consistent hustle. And I mean, like, truly that 100,000 hour things, it's totally true. It really is about loving it and diving into your passion. For me, people tell me, like, you work so hard, I can't believe that you're doing all of this and doing whatever. And then I remind them that there are less people on Broadway than there are in the Olympics every 4 years.
Wow.
Right? But we don't think about the arts like we think about sports.
No.
We put sports on a pedestal, literally. Culturally, we elevate these athletes and we say, like, oh, well, they're in the pool every day. And, LeBron, he's got that basketball. And nobody ever says, LeBron, you're playing a lot of basketball. Don't you ever think you want to put that down? Why don't you rest? And I'm like, no, I love what I do and want to be the best at it to that degree. That means a life of it,
I wonder if the people that are saying that to you are living a life that you're desiring. I feel like oftentimes the people that sit there and question, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? There's an element within them that's like, well, I'm not doing that, so you shouldn't do that either, because, like, I'm not going to do that.
I think you're right. Like I said before, it's an incredibly social sport, right? It's a team sport. We are pack animals, and we're looking left and right all the time and going, how are you doing that? And I do hope that I inspire people to push themselves a little bit harder or to just that they can make their own show, right? For me in the arts, we really give away a lot of our power. We really are like, please pick me. Like, there's an audition coming up and I promise I'll be so good at it, right? But when you're in that mindset of lack, when you're in that, I've got to go get the thing because I don't have it, that is a mental trap that eats away at your energy and eats away at your self-worth. And that, I think, is the biggest trap and the biggest thing wrong with the entertainment industry as I see it right now is it really is built to take advantage of that hopes and dreams of the talent because then you get them for cheap, right? And you feel like getting the job is the payment, right? So you'll take anything. You'll be like, I just want the job. I just want to be on Broadway, so I'll take whatever salary you give me. And you're like, oh no, that's such a predatory thing that's been done by design, and it's such a zap on the ego. And I think it's where a lot of the negative stereotypes come from show business. And
100%.
And in trying to build a community that is uber welcoming and really is like, hey, you might not even be a full-time artist, but you have the soul of an artist in you. Like Amanda, you have the soul of an artist. You're an artist. And you shouldn't have to have it be tied to your income to be able to experience life that way.
100%. I love that so much. So I came from the theater world as well, but then I pivoted into film, and I had a really similar experience. I was talking about this yesterday where I worked at a talent agency, and I was like,
so
I was an agent's assistant in the motion picture talent department, pre-Harvey Weinstein, getting paid $11.50 an hour to be abused, and then told you should be so lucky there's 18 other people that want this job. I was like, I saw Devil Wears Prada and I was like, this is nothing compared to what we went through.
Oh my God. But
this shit is nothing. And that's what the industry is built on. And it's this like cyclical, like those are your agents and those are your producers and those are your casting directors. So it's like this whole system based on this, like, and it doesn't have to be like that.
No.
Like, so I went on then to work with, I was a creative executive for an actor after I worked at the talent agency. And similar to what you did, he was an actor. Everybody in the industry was like, you're going to be the next big thing. But technically, like, he wasn't working. And so we spent every fucking day being like, what can we do? So he started producing and he started being like, if you're in the position, exactly what you're saying, if you're in that energy of pick me, and not in the energy of how can I create, how can I add value, you might get the role. Like, you might have gotten your Broadway role because you weren't in that energy, and then that allowed you the space to then like pivot into this thing. And I think that's so translatable for so many different dreams and visions. It's just like, focus on where can I add value? How can I be that person? And, you know, long story short, this guy now is a total movie star, and everybody's like, whoa, that happened overnight. And I'm
you're
like, no,
it took so long. And that's it too. I think it's really, this gets back to a little thing that I said before, is like, when you're constantly creating, you really don't have the energy to worry about, because you're like already on to the next thing. You're like, oh, well, I've got another show I've got to be doing. Then when you make the audition and you're able to forget it, right? Like, the worst part is you make the audition, then you sit around and you watch the phone. It's, what a terrible. I say all the time, you know, it's like, now that I'm busy and running and doing these things, that like a big TV show that I booked right now would really screw things up for me. Like, it would really mess up a lot of other dreams I've got going on, right? Which is a great place to be, as opposed to looking around going, where's that big TV show? And then it's also fun. I think that the thing that we have to remember in that Shake It Off thing that we did at the beginning, right, is like, this is about having as much fun as you possibly can. I am a curator of joy in times that are very difficult. And I think that that's why people really resonate with the arts in general, or my shows, is that I'm going to give you a good time in some bad times. And people just are like, I needed that. I needed that. Thank you.
And you're not beating around the bush with it either. No. Like, you're being really transparent and honest about like how dark shit is right now.
That's a big part of it too. Yeah. I begin the show, the same theme song that I wrote before every single one, and it begins with, the oceans are rising, the temperature's too, we've missed all the deadlines, we're totally screwed. But let's put on a show and pretend that it's fine, because everybody needs a little stage time. That's it. Like, it's, what are we going to do about it? Like, I'm not a climate scientist. I'm not a politician. I have zero ability to affect change in my personal life. But what I can do is have a really great next hour, 2 hours with you, to put down your doom scrolling and make eye contact with some interesting people and shake yourself out of that funk or that whatever you're going through. Leave your troubles at the door and let's boogie, let's dance.
Well, and hasn't that always been like the allure of theater? Right? Is that like, I feel like especially now people are so hyper serious and they feel like they aren't allowed to have fun or play or feel joy because the world is so dark and there's so many things and there's this and there's that. And it's like, you don't need permission. We were brought to this earth to experience pleasure and joy. You don't have to earn that right. And I think that theater, and I think that stage time, and I think experience like this, it's a permission slip for people to be like, hey, you're allowed to not be stressed for an hour.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Oh, I love hearing you say that. I mean, this gets to the woo, which I love, but this is a sacred profession. This is an ancient profession. Like, we have been sitting around as communities and singing songs and dancing since we could make fire and gather. Period. Like, we don't do this just for fun.
Right.
You know?
It's a need. We need it as humans.
It's primal. And it's in all of us around the world, right? And that is what we're chasing here. And that is what we can evoke and awaken in people. And that's a spiritual good. It connects people. It just provides this release, and we need help getting that release and that catharsis as a group. As a group, there's so much pressure on the individual right now to do the work by themselves. And working on yourself is supposed to be with your therapist or alone with your journal or on the side of a mountain. And it's like, it's gotta be alone, and it's gonna be hard. And it's like, I think you can work on yourself in a drum circle with, 15 strangers in ecstatic dance.
Yes, sir.
Or sitting in a dark theater while a beautiful song is sung and just weeping. And
letting it move you
and having that really, and then looking to your left and your right and seeing that other people are crying too, and that you're like, oh, I'm not this special butterfly, and I'm not the only most wounded thing. I'm actually going through this moment with with a tribe around me.
Yes.
And I might not know their names, but I know that we're here in the same room right now. And I think that's it. Like and again, like nothing I'm doing is new. This is like even this model of gathering everyone is based on vaudeville, which was the most popular form of entertainment 100 years ago. Same as it ever was. This community, group, artistic movement, or whatever it is that this is becoming, is an old playbook. And it worked then, so it works now.
I love that.
And that's it. And even right now, like being able to talk to you and now reach whatever listener is listening, it's this positive feedback loop, you see?
Totally.
Like it grows on that abundance that comes from creativity, that comes from community, and that can really just go and grow and grow.
Oh, it's so true. There's this really beautiful Ram Dass quote that's like, we're all just walking each other home.
I'm writing that down. I adore that.
That's what we're doing. Like all of this work that we do. And to your point, my whole message of what I'm creating with Amanda Fest and my brand, it's all about that the work doesn't have to be in isolation, and it doesn't have to be dark and gloomy. You can have fun. You can dance. I fucking dance through my sorrow. Just because you're in joy doesn't mean that you're negating the pain. I have people on here all the time, like you, that are big and bright and beautiful and just like these beacons of light. And I know, because every single person that I know that's like that has the same fucking story. You've been through the shit. I know, because the only way that you have the ability and the capacity to reach these levels of euphoria, you gotta have the capacity to go to the darkest depths, and it's both.
Yeah.
Like both exist. There's duality. And I think when people see somebody like you or somebody like me who is preaching joy and play and fun, it can be triggering, because maybe certain people don't have the capacity yet to tap into that, and they need that permission, right? But their initial reaction can be a trigger. Or there can be the judgment that if you're in your joy, if you're in your play, if you're in that energy, then you are completely not paying attention to what's going on and you don't care. And I think both of those reactions, if that is in you, I don't think anybody listening to my podcast resonates with that, but I do think a lot of people do. It's people like us as well, knowing that that's not true. Like, that's just not true.
No, not at all. That's beautiful. Thank you for putting it that way. I couldn't agree more. I think that joy is an act of resistance.
Totally.
And it's a choice.
Yep.
It's something that you train your neural pathways to be in gratitude. You train them to appreciate. You train to it is a mindset. It's work. But what isn't work, right? It's just as much work to be negative all the time, right? It's just as much work to fall to the negative side. But for me, it's a practice. Everything's a practice. Yep. And you just practice that gratitude, and you practice that creativity, and you practice, for me, again, it's like it's about that stage time. It's about that time you spend pursuing your joy, pursuing an artistic life, right? It's everywhere, and it doesn't just have to be in one category, but it can just be in how you express yourself walking down the street. This is a big thing that I'm focusing on now, which is theatricality of your life, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pivoting beyond just what happens in an hour show, but really trying to model and display that you are always in charge of what this costume is. It might feel inauthentic, or your friends might judge you at first when you, like, let's say, get into the burning community, right? And you're like, oh, I'm gonna wear this headdress, and oh, I feel like a faker. But it then becomes normal, and then you're like, oh, I actually really love this feather, and I'm gonna put it in my hair, and you're like, whoa, hold on, who am I? And this act of discovery and costuming yourself and moving through the world, and all of a sudden you realize that, all the world is a stage, and you do have the opportunity to become and transform into
and play and try things on.
And just because tomorrow you wear a dress once doesn't mean you now wear dresses all the time, right? It's this mental block of identity and ego, ultimately, that is going, well, I'm this person, right? It's like, oh, no, I decided what my look was in high school, so that's how I look, right? It's like, no, we are always evolving and shedding our skin and going, who am I today? Who am I today? And that theatricality, I love the intersection of that. And that's what I've been really inspired by. I've been really inspired by these nightlife performers, by these people who are really in it, right? Like, one of my favorite people, their name is Anna Monoxide, and they are one of these crazy nightlife clowns, right? Like, they are the people who I was talking about, who, like, she puts needles in her face, walks on broken glass, and she has her clown makeup that she wears tattooed on her face. But, like, that, it means that there is no differentiation between who they are on the street and then who they are on the stage. They are living in totality, right? In this,
they're embodied. They're
embodied. And we all are doing that, right? It's like RuPaul says, we're all born naked, the rest is drag. And you are choosing who you are and how the world wants to see you. And you do it on any side of the political spectrum as well. Like, these conservative cowboys are in drag. They're playing dress up. They don't ride horses. They drive big old trucks, right? And even then, that truck is drag because it's signifying to the world that I'm this kind of man, right? Like,
well, this is why I loved Burning Man so much. I went for the first time when I was 23. It's all of these things don't exist. Everything that makes you, you're wearing something different. You're not going by your name. You're not telling people what you do for work. You don't have your car. So you get to be you in your purest essence. And every day you could be somebody else. Every day you could try on a different persona. Nobody cares. It is this playground. And Burning Man truly was designed as a social experiment to say, like, what if we had a society that was based off of these principles and we were able to radically self-express and we were able to show up, like, there's like 10 different principles that it's guiding on and they're beautiful. It's like, people think that Burning Man's all about like bargaining, you know, I give you this, you give me this. And it's like, no, it's a gifting economy. And what that means is, like, what is your gift? What is your magic? You bring stage time to Burning Man. That's your gift. And energetically, you're giving that away. People are going to give you, let's say you forgot food or whatever it is, like whatever you forgot doesn't matter because you provided your gift to the community is going to hold you and take care of you. And if you had a whole society where everybody tapped into their magic, everybody showed up, everybody contributed, and everybody held each other, like, we'd have a magical place that we'd be living.
I think so. And I think that that's the thing is we do. Right?
Yeah.
We do.
So we could create little pockets of this.
Right. And that's it too, is that, like, for me, it does start with you, right?
Totally.
I ran my own social experiment and it's working, right? And it doesn't have to be separated in the middle of the desert. It can be in the middle of Manhattan. Right.
Yes.
And I think but it's always been here, right? It's a return to Bohemia. I think that that's the future. I think that that's where culture needs to go from here, is this rejection of this egoic me, and going, how can I help you? How can I create more comfort in your life? It's like with rents this high, how can we pool resources? We see this already with everybody's got a roommate. And I think it's kicking into this, again, this lived bohemian lifestyle that is how people have survived hard times in this country. I mean, it's like, you look at the Chelsea Hotel, you look at the art that was made in the 60s in the face of so much, in the face of civil rights, in the face of the Vietnam War. It's like, there's a reason why we romanticize the hippies, but the hippies were doing it to survive, right? Like, they weren't just doing it for the aesthetic. They weren't doing it for clout. They were doing it because it actually was how they were gonna make sense of the world as a community that they didn't agree with, right?
Well, we weren't meant to do it alone.
No.
We were meant to do it with each other. I'm curious to hear, so I know that you're building StageTime. I mean, so how many, you said you're 2 years into this experiment now?
2 years in the summer. Okay. It'll be 2 years of doing this, which is wild. Yeah.
And I'm curious, what is this vision of this community that you're
yes,
building?
thank you for asking. It's actually exactly what I'm grappling with right now. I think
Okay.
that under the banner of StageTime, we're
Yeah.
doing more community events. Like, for
Love.
example, we're launching our first singles mixer, which
Love.
is going to be fun. Again, it's like, oh, we can come here and just hang out, and there's great music and vibes, and we know that it's like you're going to be with the same type of people who come to these shows, right?
Right.
So it means like it becomes a representative of this kind of lifestyle and community that you want to be a part of. A big thing is classes. Like, I think if I'm tied into all of these people, if you want to learn how to, be a drag queen, let's have a drag queen teach you.
Love
If
that.
you want to have, if you want to learn how to be a go-go dancer, I've got all these great dancers. Let's give them an opportunity to teach you. Then not only that, I have more access as StageTime than they would on their own. So what I'm able to do is put money in the pockets of these artists and then create a bigger community by doing that too. So
Love that.
that's really cool. And then my big one is I want a space of my own. I really would like
Yeah.
to have a clubhouse, and I would like to have this coffee shop come by, hang out, rally point.
Love that.
Right? And then
Create your own third place.
I create my own third space, right? That is really the ultimate goal. And I'm working on doing that, is really having, my own theater, having my own space that can be full. You can roll up at 9 a.m. and get a coffee and hear someone playing. And
Oh my God, I would
live
love
music in the
that.
corner. You know what I mean? It's like it becomes a place in a space that is going to be centered around performance. It's going to be a place where there's always something going on, and it can transition from 9 in the morning to 9 at night when the DJs start hitting, and then we've got people dancing till 4. Like my midnight shows right now, I'm kicking people out at 3:34 in the morning, and then they're going, "Where's the next spot?" And I'm like, Jesus, okay. All right.
Yeah, you're like, we're so hyped.
I'm like, we gotta go. But again, it's like I think that people are desperate for that third
Stage
space.
time slumber party.
Let's go! It's here. But yeah. So I'm working on that clubhouse right now. I think that it's just such a need in the community, and the reason why it's working is that it really is a virtuous product. Like, I'm not a snake oil salesman selling Oxy to people or insurance they don't need. It's like we're giving people nights out and a space in a community to gather that is going to help them get through this loneliness epidemic, like you just said.
So amazing.
And who knows? It's just my way of cracking it. I hope that it really just inspires more people to create their own communities built around art, because anyone can do it. It really just takes those 4 walls and some artistic people, and then consistency. For me, anyone who would want to make something like this or think that they can't do it, it's like you need a space that's empty and relatively cheap, and you just need some friends who are passionate, and then you need a date on the calendar that is consistent.
Yep.
That's it. And my stage time started monthly. I was like, okay, second Monday of the month, and it's a Monday. Like my big show it started it all is on a Monday night.
Wait, I don't know about this big show.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I've got the Saturday night show, but then I've got the monthly Monday spectacular.
Oh my God.
Oh, you've never been to the spectacular?
No, I gotta come.
I just had one this past Monday, and that's like
I'll plan my next New York trip around
please
it.
do. That's like a full ticketed. We've got like a 6-piece brass band. We've got it's like an elevated night of theater. It's like the full Broadway version. You've only been to the party version.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm so excited.
Trust me, we party. But again, so it's like I think from this banner of this company, we just can be connecting with people and again having them. I really am excited about this singles mixer. Like, I think again, nobody knows how to meet, and the algorithms are not going to save us. Like, we need to be getting back to the old school way of doing things, which is, hey, have you met my friend Johnny? I think you two would really like each other. Like,
totally.
But you can't do that if you're not in these spaces frequently enough to make those connections. And honestly, that's what I'm thrilled about, is that we've got StageTime couples already. We've got StageTime brand new friends and collaborators who never would have met otherwise. And that's how it happens. That's how you build
Well, you're also reminding people. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people that are like, I don't know how to make friends in my late 20s or my 30s. And I'm like, it's so easy. It's so easy. But to your point, like, one of the best ways to do it is to find something that you're passionate about, get in a room with like-minded individuals, and show up. show up, contribute, volunteer, participate, come early, stay late, help with breakdown, like whatever you can do, like, contribute to the community that you want to be a part of. And you'll very soon find, like, I found the ecstatic dance community in 2020, and I'm a full-time nomad, and I literally, you can plot me almost anywhere in the world and I can find community within 24 hours.
That's incredible.
Because what I know what to do. I know I go online and I look up, or I'll go to a coffee shop, like wherever the local coffee shop, and I'll look at the community board, and I'll go to an event. I'll go to something that speaks to me, whether it's a sound bath, whether it's an ecstatic dance, whether it's a yoga class or a dance class, whatever it is. And I'm like, these are the things I love. This is where I'm going to find my people. And maybe I'll find one person, but then it's you go to the thing and then you linger. You stay and you talk to the teacher and you talk to the people there. And then you find out, like, oh, cool, it's so-and-so's birthday tomorrow and they're having a house party. Do you want to come? And then it's like,
I'm so inspired by this. I'm really, I'm so grateful that we've kind of intersected here, because I do feel like the communities are, like, I really am so interested in engaging more with this community that you're speaking from, and I know that so many of the folks that are more, in that commercial art world are so desperate for that level of community, and they don't know how to find it.
The cool thing with me is that, like, I'm in all of them. So
right.
I started in musical theater. I studied acting. I have tons of friends that have, like, been through the Broadway circuit. I still have friends that are in that world. So, like, that's one element of my life. And then I pivoted, and then I started going to Burning Man, and then that became one. And then I pivoted and I started doing ecstatic dance, and that became one. And so now I'm kind of like this hybrid of, I'm in all of these worlds, and I just bounce here and I bounce there and I go here. And
we're the same. I'm the exact same. But that's honestly how I then had this idea to unite them, right? It's because I could pivot between the drag kids and the magicians and the scary clowns and the Broadway kids, and I went, oh, but we're all actually one team, right?
I found that too, though, when I started these things, because when I started going to Burning Man, and then I had a friend that was super into acro yoga in Santa Monica, and I went to acro yoga and I started talking to people, and I was like, oh, you guys all must be burners. And they're like, no, we just do acro. And then I went to ecstatic dance and I met everyone there, and I was like, you guys must go to Burning Man. And they're like, no. And I was like, these are all separate communities.
Which is wild, but they're not, right? They're not. And because what you're doing and what we are doing, right, is that we are bridge builders.
Yes.
We are going, hey, come on, like you should look over here. I think you'll like it, right? And that's how you wake people up to the diversity that's around them, from the abundance that they think is hiding, right? Is it like, no, it's all here. You just got to leave your house and find it.
But what would be cool too is, like, obviously as you build out StageTime, like, I think having a StageTime type of experience in LA would crush.
Yeah, we're looking to get there.
There is nothing like it. And that was my thing when I moved to LA. I felt like my theater kid was just, like, being suppressed. I mean, I'm the type of person where it's like, you say something, I have just, like, every musical theater show in my head, and, like, and then but like, when I'm in New York and I'm with my theater friends, I can do that. In LA, I had to stop doing that because I was like, oh my God, like, you're singing in the Heights, and they're like, what? And I was like, never mind,
it's fine. That's so funny. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that we need it, right? It's like and I can't wait to get out to LA and to connect with that community and to do these things. I mean, I can't wait we have plans I've got people in Berlin who are like, hey, when are you coming? I'm going to Paris next week for a burlesque show for StageTime. Like, it's starting to crack and realize that it's not just one city that we can unite.
It's all of these
multiple cities, and it's artists from around the world. Like, again, I've got people who, when they're in New York visiting from Berlin, from Paris, from London, they go, hey, can I be in the show? And I'm like, yes, and bring your friends. And then all of a sudden I'm meeting these people, and you realize it's, again, because it's a global community of artists, because we are sharing this moment in history as a people.
Well, and being able to have, I love this. I absolutely love this. To what I was saying of like how I could bop into any place, and this includes internationally, this includes all these different places. But I kept saying that where I'm like, even within the specific networks of ecstatic dance, they're all separate. Like there's this amazing ecstatic dance in Amsterdam, and every time I go to an ecstatic dance anywhere in the world, they're like, where's the best place you've ever been? I'm like, I love the ecstatic dance in Amsterdam. It's this place called Odessa. They have it on a pirate ship, and it's this incredible experience. And nobody, even within the ecstatic dance world, knows about it. And I'm like, because what I want to do too is, I travel full time, and this happened accidentally as well. Like I didn't plan to be a nomad, but it just kind of happened. And what's happening is I'm realizing that I'm like, there's like these places need to be connected. Like,
That's it. But how, right?
But to your point, I love having artists internationally too. Like when I was just in Tulum a couple weeks ago, and I met up with I got connected through like, the grapevine, through these artists that are Toronto based, and they plan their trip around performing. So they had a contact in Tulum, and then they arrived in Tulum, and they performed 4 nights in Tulum. They had a sound bath experience that they got to bring to Tulum. Now they're in Mexico City. And I was like, how cool would it be to get to have like these hubs, and to that point, like have international artists perform, have people when they land in New York be like, you know what you got to do? You got to go to this show.
That's it. You are chasing it. This is good. I need to talk to you more often. Because
I selfishly use these podcasts as a way to like connect with people.
Sure.
Because I'm like, I used to be the person like back when I was like networking, and it's like, oh, let's get coffee and let me pick your brain. But I was like, what if I could create a platform? You get to share your shit. 100%. I'm giving you something.
100%. I feel the same, but I feel the same way too. It's like, and this gets back to, it's a team sport. It's how can I help you? Ooh, it sounds like your thing and my thing could really be fun. What's like, who do you know who would like this? How blah, 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 blah. Like, I can't wait to hop off this and be like, wait, so who do I need to talk to in New York City? This is amazing. What ecstatic dance in New York am I missing out on? Give me.
I'll tell you.
Oh, I know. I want the whole thing. I want the whole thing. But again, it's like, and I do want this, right? It's like, I could not agree more. It is a thrilling lifestyle, and I'm so grateful for this time with you.
Totally. This was so, I want to give you the opportunity before we close to pitch, share. Obviously, we're going to have your socials down below, but if there's anything, I know you mentioned like the singles mixer, if there's anything you want to plug, this is your plug opportunity.
You got it. So we've got StageTime here in the heart of New York City every single Saturday night at the Slipper Room on the Lower East Side, and also our monthly spectacular on the second Monday of every single month. You can also come check me, PJ Adzima, in the Book of Mormon 8 times a week on Broadway. Definitely give us a follow at StageTime NYC. You're going to be able to see all of our upcoming shows. We're going to be launching these classes. We're going to be really, again, come be a part of this community. My favorite thing is that when people come to our shows and they say, oh, I'm not going to miss one of these, and I'm going to bring 5 friends. And that's what happens. And then it becomes this place where you can hang out and meet more people and just kind of find your clan in unexpected times. We promise we will keep bringing you more StageTime.
Thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure. I always love when these things end and I'm like, no.
I know. Well, hey, we're just going to have to keep talking. It's fine.
But thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, reach out to us. We are real people. Our socials will be linked below. Would love to hear your thoughts, feedback, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.